When I created Motor City Casino, I didn't realize that it would be a bridge over troubled waters, and it has certainly helped us during our restructuring and bankruptcy. Hi, I'm Herb Strather, and I'm the chairman of Strather Associates. I'm also the founding partner of this place, Woodbridge Estates. And I'm here today to convince those with Detroit DNA to get involved in redeveloping the city that we love.
Mr. Strather is a coach, he's a motivator. He has an excellent team, a staff, and the students, all of us together, we just bonded and we support one another. So if you're doubting or insecure or not sure, you come out here, you'll find that all of us felt the same way. But once we got into this environment, our confidence started to build. And so you'll be okay. Just come out with all the people who are just like you, who decided to get off the couch and come to this class, and you'll be fine.
It taught me to think out of the box, mainly by the example of other people. Like just tonight we had Darren Sanders. Last week we had a brilliant young man come in, Aaron, who showed us the ways that you think out of the box, the ways that Strather Academy motivated them to move beyond their other concepts and even limitations in order to make real estate deals, make this their future, and be profitable for them.
And this class it makes you think outside the box. It takes you to a place where there is no box. There is no box. You get outside of yourself. It's not standard real estate. You know, it's creativity. So with the creativity, you have to think in many different ways and many different facets. And that's why you take this class.
Herb and I have had a lot of good times together. He's very personable. He's easy to get along with. He's going to participate in a lot of your deals. If you want him to, if you don't want him to, he won't. You know, I can contact him anytime whenever I have questions. I have questions on properties that have nothing to do with them. I can call him up. Like right now I own a building on Division, downtown Detroit. I talked to Herb and he says, hey, well, they're making you decent offers because you're right in the middle of a development zone. We can structure it a different way to where you can make more money. That's more of like a friend or a mentor. It's not somebody saying, hey, well, if I make money at it, I'll help you out with it. He's a friend and a mentor that says, hey, once you're in with me, as long as you do right by me, I'll do right by you.
It's not always been rosy. As you know, our city has faced challenging times recently. As a matter of fact, I'm tied to Detroit. To however Detroit goes, I go. I admitted on Mason Radio that I've dropped $90 million because I invest in my city. But you know something? I've been to this movie before, not always that rosy. But right now is a golden opportunity in our city for you to become involved. Thank God for those new Detroiters that are coming in, for they have taken one of our most challenging areas, the Cass Corridor, and have turned it into a beacon of hope and perhaps the most progressive and growth area in the entire city of Detroit. Now I'm here to talk to you about our neighborhoods. We have an obligation to our community, to our kids, to our grandkids, and to those who have not yet been born. We have to make a commitment to redevelop our community. The question is, how do you get these skills? How can you make it happen? And ladies and gentlemen, this is where I come in. I created Strather Academy so that we can educate a whole new generation of developers. We're looking for the next generation of people that will make it happen. The question is, who will redevelop Detroit? Is it going to be the realtors? Is it going to be the block clubs? Is it going to be people that live in the community? Or is it going to be somebody else? Somebody else in Japan or China? If it's somebody from the outside that's going to redevelop our community is never going to be the same. A community consists of home ownership and those type of things, and just not transient renters in and out. So I'm reaching out to Detroiters right now to get involved, to join Strather Academy. I am looking for 6 entrepreneurs, those of Detroit DNA, that want to help make it happen. At Strather Academy, we teach you how to find property, how to fund it, finance it, fix it, and flip it. We also talk about how to build communities. And we're going to extend an invitation for you to come to Strather Academy and learn these skills. Not only can you leverage and make yourself millions of dollars, you can help reestablish your community. And we have 4 classes. One of those classes is 101, where we teach the basic fundamentals. The other class is property management, because once you acquire property, you got to be able to take care of it. Like we do a pretty good job here. And then we have acquisition strategies. These strategies teach you how to leverage real estate, acquire real estate without having to necessarily put up a lot of equity. The fact of the matter right now, there's a lot of buoyancy in the marketplace. It's the first time in your life and in my life, you could ask, what is that property worth? And you might get an answer from $20,000 to $70,000. With so much buoyancy in the marketplace, it gives us a chance to create wealth. My job now is to take the knowledge that's in my head and put it in your head, to train the next generation of developers to see to it that our city will take its rightful place in the world. So I'm calling on the entrepreneurs, those Detroiters, and not only those who physically live in Detroit, but those who care about Detroit, no matter where in the world you live. Think about the opportunities you have in Detroit. There is no other place in the world with the abundance of opportunities that we have. Where else can you take and buy property for a few $1,000s and put a few $1,000s in and collect normal rents? Speaking of rents, the interesting thing is rents are back to normal. Employment now is booming, but the prices are a fraction of what they were just 8 years ago. So Detroiters, wake up.
Mr. Strather is a coach. He's a motivator. He has an excellent team, a staff, and the students, all of us together, we just bonded and we support one another. So if you're doubting or insecure or not sure, you come out here, you'll find that all of us felt the same way. But once we got into this environment, our confidence started to build. And so you'll be okay. Just come out with all the people who are just like you, who decided to get off the couch and come to this class, and you'll be fine.
It taught me to think out of the box, mainly by the example of other people. Like just tonight we had Darren Sanders. Last week we had a brilliant young man come in, Aaron, who showed us the ways that you think out of the box, the ways that Strather Academy motivated them to move beyond their other concepts and even limitations in order to make real estate deals, make this their future, and be profitable for them.
And this class it makes you think outside the box. It takes you to a place where there is no box. There is no box. You get outside of yourself. It's not standard real estate. You know, it's creativity. So with the creativity, you have to think in many different ways and many different facets. And that's why you take this class.
Herb and I have had a lot of good times together. He's very personable. He's easy to get along with. He's going to participate in a lot of your deals. If you want him to, if you don't want him to, he won't. You know, I can contact him anytime whenever I have questions. I have questions on properties that have nothing to do with them. I can call him up. Like right now, I own a building on Division, downtown Detroit. I talked to Herb and he says, hey, well, they're making you decent offers because you're right in the middle of a development zone. We can structure it a different way to where you can make more money. That's more of like a friend or a mentor. It's not somebody saying, hey, well, if I make money at it, I'll help you out with it. He's a friend and a mentor that says, hey, once you're in with me, as long as you do right by me, I'll do right by you.
Now, I would like to introduce to you a gentleman who was on the other side of a transaction as we were acquiring the asset. He was in fact the property manager, and he did a tremendous job. What he saw with his very own eyes is how we structured a transaction and pulled out a couple of $100,000. We put together what you would call a gift sale, whereas the owner gifted a portion of the property to us and sold a portion of the property. We in fact paid the owner $1 million, put $300,000 up for repairs, and pulled out $200,000 tax-free. It's tax-free because you don't pay taxes on borrowed money. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you a gentleman and his wife who manages some of the finest apartment developments in Detroit.
Hi, my name is Jason Dean, and this is my wife, Susanna Dean. And we just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about what we do, the property management that we do in the city and all over the city of Detroit. One of the properties we currently run is behind us, the Broderick Tower. And Susanna can really speak to what happens downtown and how the city's growing.
Well, the city is growing pretty darn fast. We started managing here in downtown Detroit about 2.5 years ago, and in just that time has been a tremendous change. The amount of people that are down here, the restaurants that are opening up, the new buildings that are being renovated and transformed into residential units, and the retail spaces that open up, and everybody wants to come down to Detroit. We have folks coming here from Washington, New York, California, everywhere. Detroit is definitely the spot to be. We've had much success here. Matter of fact, we've just received a few more contracts to manage other buildings here. Matter of fact, one right behind you and one down the street. So a lot of them are being renovated. We're going to be managing about another 300 units or so. So yeah, we definitely look forward to the transformation that's happening here before our eyes.
And in downtown Detroit, that's only one part of it. You still have a lot of stuff going on outside of downtown. I currently run properties in the urban areas, some of the ones that may be looked at as less desirable, but are really where the profit's at. You know, out in 6 Mile and Myers at Village Square, on Greenfield at Regency Park. You know, you have stuff like Heatherwood and Inkster, which is a suburb of Detroit. So I mean, you have stuff all over the city that are really, really going well, and there can really be a lot of opportunities. You just have to know how to run them. And that's one of the things we've become very good at, is running properties not only downtown at the high end, but the inner city stuff as well.
I used to be in financing for years in residential and a little bit of commercial, but I've never seen the structuring that Herb does. He is amazing. I didn't even know it was possible. And he makes deals happen that you would never believe would happen. And not only that, he structures them in a way to where when you buy them, you have what you need, the tools you need, the financing you need in order to be successful with those properties.
I met him the first time actually about 5 years ago at Village Square. Briefly met him at the property and didn't think much about it. Years later, we end up running into each other again because he's buying a property called Granada Gardens, and I was the one managing it at the time. And I'm thinking, okay, this ought to be interesting. Nobody can really get financing in the inner city at the time. Nobody's getting financing. It's not possible. And I'm looking at the deal and I'm like, well, I'll wait till I see this one happen. And I'll be damned if he didn't pull it off. I mean, he made a deal that you wouldn't think would be possible. You didn't think anybody could get financing in the area at the time. You didn't think it was possible. You didn't think that anybody could put it together. And the way he structured it and the way he made it happen opened up my eyes to a whole different world. And I immediately said, you know what? I need to see what he does. I need to understand more. I need to look at this. And I joined Strather Academy to find out exactly how he structures them, exactly how he puts them together. I brought my wife down there. She went through the course with me. So we learned it was another aspect of the business for us. We know how to manage them. We know how to run them very well. But the one aspect is if you can't get the money, you can't buy them. So it slows you down. We were buying properties. We already had several properties on our own. But that huge jump that you need to go from owning smaller properties to owning the really big stuff was knowing how to structure the financing on the deals. And that's what we learned from Strather Academy. A lot of people come into the business and they'll buy a property and 6 months later they're selling it because they don't know how to run it. So Herb isn't going to just teach you how to acquire it, he's going to teach you how to hold on to it for the long term so that you can build net worth for yourself. And that's really what buying property is about, long-term net worth.
I actually attended a few of the classes that Jason taught at the Strather Academy and found that the students there were folks who actually owned buildings or apartments or houses for years and didn't know half of what they were being taught by Jason. So they were amazed, they were astounded of the information that they needed all this time and never knew where to get it, never knew where to start, never knew what to do. And they walked out of there in just total awe by the information they'd received and the support. And Jason gave them his phone number and said, call me when you need me. And the classes were very, very inexpensive. You mentioned, you know, you don't have a lot of money. You know, they're not expensive classes, but what you get out of them are worth millions of dollars.
Suzanne and I have learned from Herb. He shares the list of different financiers, how to put together the deals, actually giving you the structure. So he'll actually send you the format to where you're not actually having to create your own format to send to the vendors how they like to see the deals set up on spreadsheets. So he actually physically sent it to us and said, here, put in your numbers. It's already formatted and it'll come out. Put in your numbers, tweak it around the way you make it the way you want it to look, and you send that directly to the bank, and the work's been done for you. Plus we have associations with other people from the class. Students or not students, people that have attended the class, you know, you can walk in, you know them firsthand. You can walk in and say, hey, how's it going? You know, we're both Strather Academy students. Yes. I know a lot of the guys that own buildings that took the class with me. A lot of those guys, they call me up for information. I call them when I have questions. If we happen to interact with somebody downtown and I haven't met them, but they have, now we have a group by which we can say, hey, I don't know this person, but you do. Can you put me in contact with them? Since taking the Strather Academy, I've actually acquired a 73-unit apartment complex, Regency Park Apartments actually, on Greenfield, 9601 Greenfield to be specific. It's a $1.2 million acquisition. We were able to get it with favorable loan rates. We actually got it initially on a land contract. We're going to refi it. It's a turnaround project, which fits perfectly for me. It's one of the things that I really look for, is being able to really turn around an urban property. We picked it up, it only had 29 vacant units when we picked it up out of 73. Currently, I think I only have 4 vacant apartments left, and those are actually leased, so I'm 100% leased. I just got the last 4 that got to move in. And we'll be able to refi the property conventionally once we have it all turned around. And you know, we've got a $1.2 million property, a 73-unit apartment complex. Prior to that, Suzanne and I owned an 8-unit and a 7-unit. And we're having a hard time really getting over the hurdle going to the next big property. So we've been able to break that hurdle and get to a nice large property, nice large scale property. We're currently in the process of acquiring about a $25 to $30 million acquisition, a group of properties consisting of Village Square, Heatherwood, Central Park, you know, a big group of property, big conglomerate of properties that will give us a $25 to $30 million acquisition. And we're doing it all using commercial funds, plus you got to have money of your own as well. If you're going to buy properties that big, you got to be able to show funds in the bank and everything else. But overall, we'll be able to do a $20 million acquisition, $20 to $30 million acquisition, something that we weren't able to do before. I always wanted to know, what does the bank look for? How does the bank want to see it set up? And that's what commercial lending is completely different from residential, as Susanna can attest to. She did residential mortgages for years. It's a total different world. How do they want to see it structured? What do they look for? Why do they look for it that way, and how to put it together? And that's what he taught us, and we were able to get it done. And it all comes from the Strather Academy, and that, like when I was talking about spreadsheets, that's 90% of it. Putting together the spreadsheets, putting together a trailing 12. You know, make sure the trailing 12 is correct. Making sure that you explain if there's capital items in it. So if the property doesn't look like it's profiting, but it's had a ton of renovations over the course of the year, to get it to where it's a profitable building, you got to be able to explain, hey, these capital expenses are not reoccurring. They're capital expenses in order to improve X, Y, and Z. That's what makes this property worth more money than it was before. And how the banks look at it. What do they look at when they try to finance a unit? Do they look at how much it costs per unit? How much you generate per unit? Are they looking at the cap rate? You know, insurance rates? What are they looking at? So you got to be able to structure it and show them what they want to see, how they want to see it, and then they're willing to finance you the money.
And that's what Strather Academy has taught us, how to structure the deals, to get over that hump, to get to the larger properties, the larger acquisitions, the larger investments. And it was amazing because Herb Strather will show you everything you need to know, everything. There's not one thing that he hides. He will show you every step. And not only that, he'll hold your hand every step of the way. And that was the amazing part. When I sat there at the classes, and I watched the things that he was showing us, I was amazed. I said, no one's ever done this, no one. You go through life wanting someone to show you. And that's what he does, that's what he did. And that's how we got over our hurdle.
If we're going to be successful in redeveloping our community, it takes all hands on deck. And that doesn't matter if you are a pastor, if you are a realtor, if you are a president of the block club, if you are a politician and a leader. All hands are on deck. We were very fortunate, by the way, to get one of our city council persons as a student well before they joined the city council.
My name is Councilman Scott Benson from Detroit's 3rd District, and I would love to encourage all residents to come back to the city of Detroit and invest. Right now, the city of Detroit is experiencing great land prices and great values. This is an excellent opportunity to get into the city and make your mark. People like Herb Strather, who have been doing this for years and encouraging everyone to come back to the city and invest. You don't have to buy in downtown or in midtown. You can invest in our town. I'm from the northeast side of Detroit, the 3rd District. We have great communities. We have Region Homeowners Association. We have Conant Gardens. We have Crans Woods. We have the Quinduran 8 Mile. And these are great, stable neighborhoods where you can get in for minimal prices, but bring out your investment and make your own neighborhood. A rising tide lifts all ships, and now is the time for Detroiters to take advantage of these housing and property values and buy in. Don't be afraid of your city. Invest in the city of Detroit. Come to the northeast side of Detroit. Come see us on the northeast side. We want your investment. We want you to participate, and we want you to invest in the city of Detroit. Detroit is open for business. Come on in.
During the Great Recession, a lot of properties were lost. There was a lot of foreclosures. And many of you who have lost properties during this time feel that perhaps you're washed up. You may have filed bankruptcy, you may have had foreclosures, and you said, you know, I'm out of the game. Well, that's not true. Many of those properties during that period of time had gigantic mortgages on them that can be reacquired right now for literally pennies on the dollar. Take this asset, for example. This was one of my most prized assets that I lost during the recession. There was a 30% vacancy factor, and I wasn't quite focused enough on managing it under those stringent terms. But now the economy is back, we're 100% full again, and I'm buying it back. And not only am I buying the property back, I'm buying it back fully leveraged, and I'm going to pull out several $100,000. Just imagine, you get your asset back, pull out a lot of cash, and you're restored. And just like I'm buying this property back, I could teach you the skills how to reacquire your assets. It might not be the house or homes or apartments or commercial buildings that you own, but Detroit is littered with opportunities. Here at Strather Academy, we can show you the methodologies to reacquire your assets.
I'm Anton Heath, student with Strather Academy. We're here today to talk about my project. My project here is Glencourt, and with Strather Academy, I was able to learn the concepts of real estate development, along with apply them through purchasing the 6-unit apartment behind me. The unit that I purchased is a 6-unit apartment building, or a townhouse, and the townhouse was a great purchase for myself because it was in a neighborhood that needed a lot of development, but it was a neighborhood that I was willing to take on. The process has been very, very educational, along with it's challenging. The challenge is that you have a beautiful neighborhood that is tied to one of the optimum neighborhoods in the city, which is the Boston-Edison district. So what we're doing here is revitalizing and tying ourselves directly to this neighborhood, which is very strong. And we're going to build this out and revitalize this block. We definitely have an awesome strategy for this neighborhood. And here to bring forth some of the strategies is my coach, Mr. Herb Strather.
Anton, my man. Anton, first of all, let me tell you, my man, I'm really, really, really proud of you.
Thank you, sir.
So how old are you, Anton?
I'm 29 years old.
Is this exciting to you?
This is very exciting to me because you're affecting the lives of Detroiters everywhere. You're not just doing one neighborhood, but you're affecting many people in this process.
So tell them about some of the tools you learned at Strather Academy that you want to employ to redevelop this community.
Well, one of the greatest tools I learned out of Strather Academy is to think outside of the box. Thinking outside of the box will get you many places where if you keep it as is, you know, it seems impossible.
Tell us about the financing tools. Have you learned anything about that?
Yes, a lot of the financing tools, we're thinking outside of the box. We're dealing with federal grants and things that can help us out wherein we're building our community with the help of others.
So a couple years from now, somebody driving through this community, what are they going to see? What is it going to be called?
Well, the name of this community is going to be Glencourt Estates.
Glencourt Estates.
Glencourt Estates.
I like that name.
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is my main man, Anton. And he's one of these young people that I'm telling you who's going to see to it that Detroit take its proper place in the world. At Strather Academy, he is learning the tools to make it happen. But he brings the passion, and we bring the expertise.
I always knew that I wanted to get into real estate, so I began to research the Wayne County tax auction, where I bought one property that you see behind me. And then upon meeting Mr. Strather, upon taking his class, I was able to learn how to properly buy properties and where to buy them, and I was able to acquire 9 more properties. Okay, and then since I've been working under Mr. Strather, being an intern, doing paperwork, land contracts, quick claim deeds, I'm sitting there watching him do commercial deals, and I know that's something that I want to transition into. I want to be a developer. I want to redevelop my city on a higher scale, getting involved into commercial. I have properties that I've bought for as little as $500 and as much as $20,000, and they're worth anywhere from, I say, $20,000 to $60,000 and up. And I think right now, with the way that Detroit's market is, it's a prime time to buy, because there's nowhere else in the United States where you can go and get properties this cheap. And you have people coming here from foreign countries, and they're buying up our neighborhoods, and we're missing out. We're missing out on the house next door to us, down the street. We're missing out on buying these homes, taking advantage of the fact that the values are going to increase. I am Kiana Herman, and I look forward to working with everyone in redeveloping the city of Detroit.
Wow, Kiana is absolutely fabulous. And you know, that could be you. Come see for yourself during this coming registration week. You can attend one of Strather Academy classes as my guest. If you are unable to attend, you can still participate. We have DVDs, streaming, home study course, and even coaching, all designed with you in mind. Once again, I'm Herb Strather, and let's join forces as we turn around the D.
And we support one another. So if you're doubting or insecure or not sure, you come out here, you'll find that all of us felt the same way. But once we got into this environment, our confidence started to build. And so you'll be okay. Just come out with all the people who are just like you, who decided to get off the couch and come to this class, and you'll be fine.
It taught me to think out of the box, mainly by the example of other people. Like just tonight we had Darren Sanders. Last week we had a brilliant young man come in, Aaron, who showed us the ways that you think out of the box, the ways that Strather Academy motivated them to move beyond their other concepts and even limitations in order to make real estate deals, make this their future, and be profitable for them.
And this class it makes you think outside the box. It takes you to a place where there is no box. There is no box. You get outside of yourself. It's not standard real estate. You know, it's creativity. So with the creativity, you have to think in many different ways and many different facets. And that's why you take this class.
Herb and I have had a lot of good times together. He's very personable. He's easy to get along with. He's going to participate in a lot of your deals. If you want him to, if you don't want him to, he won't. You know, I can contact him anytime whenever I have questions. When I have questions on properties that have nothing to do with them, I can call him up. Like right now, I own a building on Division, downtown Detroit. I talked to Herb and he says, hey, well, they're making you decent offers because you're right in the middle of a development zone. We can structure it a different way to where you can make more money. That's more of like a friend or a mentor. It's not somebody saying, hey, well, if I make money at it, I'll help you out with it. He's a friend and a mentor that says, hey, once you're in with me, As long as you do right by me, I'll do right by you.